Scientists recreated the face of an ancient Egyptian mummy. What they found was terrifying. Dear friends, ancient history has long been compared to a vast trove of mysteries. The deeper we dig, the more curious and amazed we become. Sometimes, from nothing more than a tiny fragment of bone, a faint carving on a rock wall, or a mummy lying undisturbed for thousands of years, scientists are able to unravel an entire story about the lives, power, and fate of people who once shaped the course of history. Today, thanks to remarkable advances in science and technology, figures who once seemed to exist only in books are gradually reappearing with clear, tangible faces, more vivid and relatable than ever before. A striking example came in 2020 when the scientific community captured worldwide attention by releasing reconstructed images of Queen Tiye, one of the most powerful and enigmatic women of ancient Egypt. Queen Tiye was born around 1398 BCE and died around 1338 BCE. She was the wife of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the mother of Pharaoh Akhenaten, and the grandmother of the legendary King Tutankhamun. Merely hearing about these connections is enough to reveal just how extraordinary her status was in the flow of Egyptian history. Based on surviving images, historical records describing her facial features, and modern reconstruction technology, scientists have attempted to recreate what Queen Tiye may have looked like during her lifetime. For many years, she has been referred to as the Elder Lady, a title symbolizing beauty, wisdom, and influence. As a result, when the reconstructed images were released, many people were astonished by her sharp features and commanding, authoritative gaze. However, another debate quickly emerged. What was Queen Tiye's true skin tone, brown or white? Although no definitive answer has been agreed upon, the facial features alone were powerful enough to leave a lasting impression. Of course, any facial reconstruction is ultimately a scientific approximation. So the question remains, was Queen Tiye truly as flawlessly beautiful as history has praised her to be? This question became even more intriguing in 2011 when experts studying her mummy announced that they had discovered a small, flat, rice grain-like bump on her forehead. In other words, a small wart located directly between her eyebrows. This detail made the face of the powerful queen seem slightly less perfect than many had imagined. The discovery was noted by Spanish archaeologist Mercedes Gonzalez during her visit to the Cairo Museum. Seeing a high-resolution photograph of Queen Tiye's face, the unusual mark on her forehead appeared quite clearly. According to some hypotheses, the wart may have been caused by the human papillomavirus, HPV, a virus commonly found on facial skin. What makes this finding particularly notable is that such pathological traces are extremely rare among ancient Egyptian mummies, and Queen Tiye's case is almost unique among those documented to date. Frank Rulli, head of the Mummy Project at the University of Zurich in Switzerland, has also suggested that the foreign object on the Queen's forehead could be a wart or a benign fibroma. Researchers, he said, are eager to re-examine her DNA to clarify the issue. However, not everyone agrees with this interpretation. Cairo-based Egyptologist Salima Ikram argues that the mark may have formed during the mummification process rather than having existed while Queen Tiye was alive. This very disagreement only adds to the intrigue surrounding Queen Tiye's story. Yet one thing is certain, whether she had a wart or not, there is no denying that Queen Tiye was one of the most powerful women in ancient Egypt. Throughout the 38-year reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, she was deeply loved and absolutely respected. The king himself once described his wife as the most elegant and sweet woman in the world, whose beauty captivated both the royal court and the people. In surviving sculptures, the image of Queen Tiye seated side by side with Pharaoh Amenhotep III says it all. It reflects not only love, but also a rare level of respect in the history of Egyptian dynasties, the respect of a powerful pharaoh for his own wife. Of course, the story of Queen Tiye is only a small piece of the vast mosaic of world archaeology. Beyond this, countless tombs remain unopened, many mummies have yet to be fully studied, and numerous historical mysteries continue to lie dormant beneath the sands of time. Each new discovery not only helps us better understand the past, but also opens the door to astonishing archaeological revelations still waiting ahead. So, are you curious to know what remarkable discoveries archaeologists have made in recent years, and what secrets they may be hiding? If so, follow me, and let's begin exploring right now. A 2,000-year-old bog mummy, revealing the chilling secrets of Celtic human sacrifice. History is not always told through yellowed pages of ancient books. Sometimes it is preserved intact deep within the earth, in places where time itself seems to have stood still. Some discoveries send a chill down our spines, not because they are merely ancient remains, but because they serve as vivid evidence of the dark rituals of the past. The story of Lindo Man, a more than 2,000-year-old male mummy discovered in England, is one such case, where every small detail of the body reveals a haunting death. The mummy was found in a peat bog at Lindo Moss, near the town of Wilmslow in Cheshire, England. What astonished scientists and archaeologists was the nearly perfect level of natural preservation. The skin, hair, and even facial features remained clear enough to be recognizable. Even more remarkably, researchers were able to determine both the cause of death and the man's final meal. As a result, the mummy, named Lindo Man, quickly became one of the most famous archaeological discoveries in Europe. According to analysis, at the time of his death, Lindo Man was a healthy man in his early 20s. His body showed no signs of long-term hard physical labor, no calloused hands, no bone damage caused by strenuous work. This led scientists to believe that Lindo Man may have belonged to a high-status class within ancient Celtic society. And yet, how could someone like this have ended his life in a cold, black peat bog? To this day, science has not been able to fully explain why the natural environment at Lindo Moss was able to preserve the body so exceptionally well. However, what researchers are almost certain of is that the cause of Lindo Man's death was far from simple. His body bore numerous severe injuries to the head, neck, chest, and ribs. Most of these wounds were caused by blunt force applied with extreme violence, enough to cause serious trauma or death. In addition, there were clear-cut marks on the neck and chest, indicating that this was not an ordinary accident. Based on these traces, a disturbing hypothesis was proposed. Lindo Man may have been the victim of an ancient human sacrifice ritual. According to scholar Anne Ross, an expert in Celtic history, along with Don Robbins of the University of London, the key evidence lay in the victim's stomach. Inside, scientists discovered a piece of burned bread that had not yet been fully digested. While this may sound insignificant, in ancient Celtic culture, this detail carried a deeply unsettling meaning. According to Celtic records and legends, those chosen for sacrifice would draw lots by pulling pieces of bread from a bag. Whoever happened to draw the burned piece would become the offering to the gods. For this reason, the presence of burned bread in Lindo Man's stomach has led many researchers to believe that he was, in fact, the chosen one in a brutal sacrificial ritual. Beyond that, scientists have also suggested that this sacrifice may have been intended to seek the favor of 3 Celtic gods. The goal may have been to prevent, or to ask for protection against, a Roman invasion, believed to have occurred around 60 CE. If this hypothesis is correct, then the death of Lindo Man was not merely a personal tragedy, but a reflection of the fear and deep spiritual beliefs of an entire community in the face of historical upheaval. Just thinking about it is enough to send a chill down the spine, isn't it? A cemetery of thousands of dismembered mummies and the chilling rituals of ancient Peru. On a small barren hill in Peru that appears unremarkable at first glance, scientists uncovered an ancient cemetery containing thousands of bodies, most of them no longer intact. The site is called Tenahaha, and the story hidden behind the mummies found there is far more terrifying than one might initially imagine. According to researchers, the Tenahaha cemetery dates back approximately 1,200 years. It was not merely a burial ground for the dead, but a unique space where ancient communities once gathered to resolve disputes, followed by symbolic religious rituals. Between 2004 and 2007, an international team of archaeologists conducted excavations at the site and discovered more than 171 mummies in small graves and burial chambers scattered throughout the area. Of course, this number is likely only the tip of the iceberg, as scientists believe the true number of mummies at Tenahaha may reach into the thousands, possibly even exceeding the number of people who lived in the region at any one time. At this point, you might be wondering, why were there so many deaths, and what exactly happened in this place? The mummies that were found were all positioned in highly unusual ways. Their arms were tightly folded across their chests, their legs drawn sharply upward, with their knees nearly touching their shoulders, as if their bodies had been compressed before death. In addition, the bodies were bound with ropes and wrapped in multiple layers of cloth. This burial method suggests that these were not random deaths, but part of a deliberate ritual carried out according to strict rules. What makes Tenahaha even more haunting is the makeup of those who were buried there. Archaeologists found individuals of all ages, from fetuses and newborn infants placed inside small jars to fully grown adults. However, most of the mummies were severely damaged. Evidence of rodent activity and water infiltration had destroyed many of the remains over time. Yet not all of this damage was natural. Upon closer examination, experts discovered that some mummies had been deliberately dismantled. Their bones were removed, scattered, and redistributed among dozens of different graves, and in some cases transferred to separate mortuary structures. Most disturbingly, in one tomb, archaeologists uncovered approximately 400 individual body parts, including hands, feet, and teeth. This horrifying scene has led many to ask, was this a religious practice, a form of human sacrifice, or the brutal aftermath of violence and warfare? Researchers believe that those buried at Tenahaha may have been residents of nearby villages. In addition to burial sites, the area also contained storage buildings and communal living spaces. This was a place where people gathered to eat together, exchange goods, and possibly reconcile after conflicts. However, Tenahaha and its surrounding regions were frequently marked by tension. Villages fought one another over farmland and power, making violence an unavoidable part of life at the time. For this reason, the thousands of dismembered mummies at Tenahaha may well be the remaining traces of prolonged conflicts that were later legitimized through religious rituals. Therefore, it would not be an exaggeration to say that this site was not only a cemetery for the dead, but also a mirror reflecting a deeply unstable period in history, where life and death were tightly bound to war, belief, and fear. Terrifying, isn't it? The 16,000-year-old shape-shifting wolf remains found in a cave in Germany. Hidden deep within the cold caves of Germany, where sunlight can barely reach, archaeologists have unexpectedly uncovered one of the most crucial missing pieces in the history of the relationship between humans and animals. It was not gold, silver, or ancient stone structures, but 8 canine teeth and a fossilized fragment of a jawbone, lying silently in the Neerscholle cave for more than 16,000 years. At first glance, these remains seemed unremarkable, but upon closer analysis, scientists realized they were evidence of a creature in the process of shape-shifting, a rare evolutionary link between wild wolves and domestic dogs. The discovery immediately drew widespread attention from researchers, as it opened a new window into understanding the origins of dogs, humanity's most loyal companions. According to Dr. Chris Baumann of the University of Tübingen in Germany, these fossils belong to individuals that were no longer fully wolves, yet could not truly be classified as domestic dogs. They represent an incomplete stage of evolution, reflecting the earliest period when humans began domesticating animals for survival. What is especially remarkable is how well the genetic material in these teeth and jawbones was preserved. This allowed the research team to compare them with 11 other ancient dog specimens previously excavated in the region and nearby areas, 3 from Frankfurt in Germany, 2 from France, and 5 from northern Canada. The ages of these comparison samples range from approximately 33,000 years ago to as late as the 7th century CE, enabling scientists to reconstruct a fairly comprehensive picture of canine evolution. Beyond skeletal morphology, the researchers also used carbon-13 and nitrogen-15 isotope analysis to study the diet of each individual. Based on the results, they divided the specimens into 3 distinct groups, A, B, and C. Group A most closely resembled ancient wild wolves, with diets rich in protein from large animals such as elephants and mammoths. Group C showed high levels of carbon-13, indicating that they primarily hunted small mammals. Group B, however, was markedly different. It displayed lower levels of nitrogen-15, reflecting a more varied but lower protein diet. Crucially, all of the shape-shifting wolves found in the Neerscholle cave belonged to Group B. Their diet included a wide range of prey, from hares and hoofed animals such as reindeer and horses to even other carnivores. This eating pattern suggests that they were no longer living entirely like wild wolves but had begun adapting to life near humans. This adaptation explains why these creatures exhibited both wolf-like and dog-like characteristics. They still possessed wild instincts, yet were being fed, cared for, and gradually controlled by humans. In many ways, they stood precisely on the boundary between nature and human civilization. A small evolutionary step, but one that would ultimately change history. Based on the collected data, the research team believes that the domestication of wolves into dogs began approximately 14,000 to 16,000 years ago. And the Gnir cave is one of the rare places that captures this extraordinary moment when prehistoric humans and wild wolves began forming a symbiotic relationship. Humans gained a guard and a hunting companion, while wolves gained food and protection. If we could turn back time and stand inside that cave, what do you think we would see? A pack of wolves lingering around the fire of prehistoric humans, or the very first dogs cautiously stepping closer to people? As for me, I believe it was in those fragile moments that the oldest friendship between humans and animals was born. Mysterious Maya city emerges from the jungles of Mexico. Deep within the dense jungles of southern Mexico, where thick vegetation blocks out even sunlight, history has unexpectedly revealed itself once again. On June 20th, 2023, archaeologists announced the discovery of a previously unknown ancient Maya city hidden in this remote region. This was not merely a collection of scattered ruins, but an entire large-scale ancient urban center that had lain silently within nature for thousands of years, waiting to be seen by the modern world. The city has been named Ocamtun, which in the Yucatec Maya language means stone column. The name itself evokes images of a landscape filled with ancient stone pillars rising from the earth. Upon closer investigation, researchers determined that Ocamtun consists of numerous monumental structures, large buildings with pyramid-like forms, many stone columns spread throughout the area, and 3 expansive plazas. These structures are arranged in nearly concentric circular patterns, indicating that the ancient Maya possessed a highly sophisticated and deliberate approach to urban planning. According to archaeological evidence, Ocamtun was once an important center of Maya civilization between approximately 250 and 1000 CE. The Maya civilization is well known for its precise mathematical systems, advanced astronomical knowledge, and complex writing system. Their influence extended across southeastern Mexico and much of Central America. However, what many people do not realize is that long before the Spanish arrived in the Americas, this once glorious civilization had already undergone a prolonged decline lasting several centuries. Historians believe that widespread political collapse destabilized Maya power centers, leading to the abandonment of many cities. When the Spanish later arrived, they carried out military campaigns, and by the end of the 17th century, the last Maya stronghold in Mexico had fallen. Ocamtun appears to be a crucial piece of the puzzle in helping us better understand this mysterious and turbulent period. Leading archaeologist Ivan Spreich explained that Ocamtun has a core area situated on elevated ground, surrounded by extensive flooded wetlands. This location provided natural defensive advantages while also demonstrating the Maya's remarkable ability to adapt to harsh environments. Within this core zone, researchers discovered several pyramid-like structures rising up to about 49 feet tall, standing prominently amid the jungle as if still guarding ancient secrets. Notably, Ocamtun was not limited to temples alone. The city also featured a ball court, a common and significant element in Maya cities. The Maya ball game was far more than mere entertainment. It carried deep religious significance. Players had to pass a rubber ball, symbolizing the sun, across the court without using their hands, attempting to send it through a small stone ring. Each match could be tied to ritual practices and even spiritual decisions affecting the entire community. In addition, Spreich's team discovered central altars near the La Riguena River. These structures were likely designed for communal ceremonies where the Maya gathered to pray to their gods or perform important rituals. However, scientists emphasize that much more research is needed to fully understand the cultures that once existed and flourished in this region. Based on materials recovered from the structures, Spreich suggests that Ocamtun likely declined between 800 and 1000 CE. This decline may reflect major ideological and demographic changes, contributing to the broader collapse of Maya societies in the region during the 10th century. And so, Ocamtun, once a thriving urban center, was gradually reclaimed by the jungle, becoming a lost city for more than 1,000 years, until archaeologists finally rediscovered it once again. A 3,000-year-old tomb on the northern highlands of Peru. In the northern highlands of Peru, where mountain winds sweep across barren slopes and modern humans rarely set foot, archaeologists have unexpectedly uncovered an ancient piece of history that had lain dormant for 3,000 years. It was neither gold nor silver, nor a massive pyramid, but a quiet ancient tomb, one that nonetheless sent shockwaves through the research community. This tomb is believed to be the final resting place of an important religious official who once held a special role in ancient Andean society. Researchers have provisionally named him the priest of Pharaoh Amenhotep after the location where the tomb was discovered, a remote highland area isolated from the outside world. According to an announcement by Peru's Ministry of Culture, the burial method alone made it clear that this was no ordinary individual. The body was placed deep beneath 6 layers of ash mixed with dark soil, a burial style rich in ritual meaning, typically reserved for figures of high status and significant spiritual authority within the community. Surrounding the remains, archaeologists uncovered a number of artifacts that invite serious reflection. Finely decorated ceramic bowls, adorned with intricate patterns, reveal the high level of craftsmanship and aesthetic sophistication of the ancient inhabitants. Even more notably, the tomb contained ceremonial seals, objects not accessible to just anyone. This further supports the hypothesis that the individual buried here held an important religious or spiritual position. Most striking of all were 2 seals placed deliberately in symmetrical positions. One seal was carved with a human face facing east, while the other depicted a jaguar facing west. For ancient cultures, directions and sacred animals were never random. Sunrise and sunset, humans and spirit animals, all may have symbolized the cycle of life and death, reflecting the spiritual beliefs once held by ancient Andean communities. In terms of size, the tomb measured nearly 6.5 feet in diameter and about 3.3 feet deep, large enough to inspire a sense of solemnity even among modern researchers. However, what truly surprised them was the burial position. The body was placed face down, with the feet crossed, a highly unusual burial posture entirely different from other tombs of the same period. This position may carry special ritual meaning or reflect a unique belief about the afterlife. Adding to the mystery, archaeologists also discovered a tupu among the remains, a traditional Andean cloakpin. What makes this unusual is that tupus are typically associated with women. Yet anthropological analysis confirmed that the tomb belonged to a man. This detail immediately raised a series of questions. Could this priest have held a role that transcended conventional gender boundaries within religious rituals? Archaeologist Yuji Seki, the lead researcher on the excavation project, stated that while the burial has been identified as male, the accompanying artifacts carry complex symbolic meanings. He believes the individual may have been a religious leader or an intermediary figure between humans and the spiritual world in ancient society. Further analysis revealed that the tomb dates back to approximately 1200 BCE, offering new insights into the early cultures of the Andean highlands. Clearly, the tomb of the priest of Pharaoh Amenhotep is more than a simple archaeological discovery. It is like a door slowly opening, allowing us to step back into a time when belief systems, rituals, and spiritual power strongly shaped human life. And the story of this priest is far from over. Beneath the rocky soil of the highlands, the past still holds many mysteries waiting to be awakened. What do you think? Or do you have a different perspective? Let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment below this video. The Stone Road Beneath the Ocean Floor, a 10,000-year-old mystery in the Bermuda Triangle. Beneath the deep blue waters off the coast of the Bahamas, where ocean waves endlessly wash over ancient coral reefs, there lies a mystery that remained hidden for tens of thousands of years, unknown to the world. That is, until one day in September 1968, when a chance dive near Bimini Island suddenly turned the field of archaeology upside down with a discovery no one had anticipated. While conducting what seemed like an ordinary dive, Dr. Valentine unexpectedly noticed a strange structure on the seafloor at a depth of approximately 100 feet. This was not a random scattering of natural rocks, but a series of massive stones arranged in a formation resembling a road. As he and his colleagues moved closer, they were even more astonished to find around 50 enormous stone blocks, rectangular and polygonal in shape, laid out with astonishing precision. Many of these blocks measured up to about 16 feet in length, with edges that fit together almost perfectly, so precisely that they appeared to bear unmistakable signs of human workmanship. This discovery immediately raised a critical question: who built this road and for what purpose? After extensive geological and archaeological studies, scientists determined that this formation was unlikely to be a natural phenomenon. Instead, the Bimini Road is believed to be a man-made structure, possibly dating back as far as 10,000 years ago. If this hypothesis is correct, the structure would be older than the Egyptian pyramids and would have been built during a time when, according to conventional understanding, humans were still living in primitive communities. Since its announcement, the Bimini Road has sparked intense debate within the scientific community. Some researchers argue that it may simply be an ancient roadway, possibly used for ritual purposes or trade by a civilization that later disappeared beneath rising sea levels. Others have proposed more daring theories, suggesting that it could be the remains of a religious structure, such as an altar, a temple, or even a form of ancient observatory where people once observed the sky and natural cycles. What makes the mystery even more compelling is that some studies have pointed out striking similarities between the stone blocks at Bimini and the massive stones at Sacsayhuaman, a famous archaeological site located in the highlands of Peru. The polygonal shapes, stone-fitting techniques, and remarkable precision have led many to wonder, could there have been a connection between ancient civilizations separated by half the globe? Or is this merely a coincidence shaped by history? And then there is the most controversial theory of all, that the Bimini Road may be a surviving remnant of Atlantis, the legendary city described by the philosopher Plato. According to this idea, Atlantis sank beneath the sea after a catastrophic disaster, and Bimini could represent one of the few traces left behind by that lost civilization. While no concrete evidence supports this claim, the theory alone is enough to ignite the human imagination. Today, the stone road beneath the waters of Bimini has become a dream destination for divers from around the world, not only to witness a strange structure hidden beneath the ocean, but also to experience firsthand the feeling of standing before an unsolved mystery. For archaeologists and scientists, Dr. Valentine's discovery remains a major unanswered question, still waiting to be decoded. Perhaps in the future, through continued observation and research, this stone road will reveal an entirely new chapter in human history, a chapter that lay buried beneath the ocean for thousands of years. That possibility doesn't seem so far-fetched, does it, in a world that continues to advance at an extraordinary pace? Extremely rare, jade-like fossils of an ancient marine creature. Mr. Zhang, a resident of Biji Town in Guizhou Province, China, set out one ordinary morning with a simple plan: to dig a small pond in his yard to store water. But fate had other plans. As he dug, his shovel suddenly struck several strange small stones. At first, he assumed they were merely colorful pebbles, so he casually picked them up and set them aside, completely unaware that he had just touched a fragment of Earth's ancient memory. As time went on and he continued digging, Mr. Zhang uncovered more stones with similar shapes and colors. They were not only visually striking, but under sunlight they displayed a glossy surface and texture that reminded many people of jade. Before long, rumors spread like wildfire. The story of old Zhang digging a pond and striking jade quickly became the hottest topic in the village. Curious locals flocked to his home, eager to see the treasure he had accidentally unearthed. The more closely the stones were examined, the more puzzled people became. They did not resemble ordinary rocks, yet they were not quite jade either. Then, suddenly, someone in the crowd blurted out that their shapes looked remarkably like animal bones. That single remark struck Mr. Zhang like a bolt of lightning. He began to wonder, could these be the remains of an ancient creature? Unable to find answers on his own, Mr. Zhang decided to contact experts for professional examination and analysis. From that moment on, the truth slowly began to emerge. When archaeologists and geologists arrived at the site, they were astonished. After conducting a series of rigorous tests, they concluded that the jade-like stones were in fact fossils of ancient marine creatures, organisms that had lived tens of millions of years ago. What made the discovery truly extraordinary was that these fossils had undergone jade-like mineralization. Over a prolonged geological process, minerals had gradually infiltrated and crystallized within them, giving the fossils a glossy, translucent appearance similar to jade. This discovery caused a sensation not only because of the rare beauty of the specimens, but also because of the powerful message they carried. These fossils serve as vivid evidence that Biji, now a mountainous region, was once part of a vast ocean. Over millions of years, tectonic plate movements uplifted the land, forming mountains, pushing the ocean far away, and burying all traces of the ancient sea deep beneath the ground. According to experts, for fossils to reach such a high degree of jade-like transformation, they must be preserved in extremely specific conditions, protected from decay, shielded from climatic influences, and subjected to continuous mineralization over immense spans of time. As a result, the value of these fossils extends far beyond scientific research. They are also extraordinarily valuable in terms of collection and the market. One ordinary morning, a small pond, a farmer. Together, they formed an unbelievable yet true story. As you can see, sometimes the most precious things are not found far away, but right beneath our feet, simply waiting for the right moment to be revealed. And who knows? Perhaps you, the one watching this video, might be the next person to uncover traces of deep time hidden in the very land you call home. Fossils of a giant dragon, a 90-million-year-old monster related to snakes. 90 million years ago, long before humans ever appeared, a massive shadow silently glided through the vast oceans. Its body stretched more than 17 feet long, with an elongated crocodile-like snout and razor-sharp teeth ready to tear apart its prey. What creature do you think I'm describing? A dragon from ancient legends? Oh no, this was not a mythical dragon, but a real sea dragon that scientists have recently discovered in Mexico, sending shockwaves through the paleontological community. According to research led by paleontologist Herto Rivera Silva of Mexico's Desert Museum, the creature has been named Jaguarosaurus regiomontanus. Just hearing the name sounds fierce, doesn't it? This animal belonged to the mosasaurs, a group of gigantic and highly aggressive marine reptiles that lived alongside dinosaurs on land. In the oceans of the Cretaceous period, mosasaurs sat firmly at the top of the food chain, and Jaguarosaurus was very likely no exception. And here's the fascinating part. The fossils of this sea monster were discovered in layered limestone deposits of the Agua Nueva Formation in Mexico. This geological formation dates back about 90 million years to the Cretaceous period. These limestone layers were formed in an open marine shelf environment with low oxygen levels, conditions that allowed the animal's remains to be preserved in remarkably complete condition. The Agua Nueva Formation has previously revealed many beautifully preserved ancient fish and marine reptiles, but Jaguarosaurus regiomontanus stands out due to its impressive size and exceptional state of preservation. According to analyses published on Sci News, when it was alive, this creature measured approximately 17 feet in length. While that may not sound as enormous as some mosasaurs that reached lengths of up to 39 feet, what makes Jaguarosaurus truly significant is that it represents one of the earliest large mosasaurs ever discovered. This suggests that terrifying apex predators emerged in the oceans very early on, capable of dominating nearly all other marine life of their time. To date, scientists have identified around 40 different genera of mosasaurs worldwide. Although their sizes varied, they shared common traits: long, streamlined bodies, impressive swimming speed, and extremely aggressive hunting instincts. Interestingly, the closest living relatives of mosasaurs today are snakes. Creepy to think about, isn't it? Anatomical features of Jaguarosaurus indicate that it belongs to the genus Plioplatycarpus, and it was a particularly large individual compared to other members of this group. Artistic reconstructions show a sinuous, dragon-like body, fins similar to other ancient marine reptiles, a long crocodile-style snout, and even a tongue resembling that of a snake, an image chilling enough at first glance. This striking combination of a sea dragon appearance and a unique evolutionary background makes Jaguarosaurus an extraordinarily important discovery. According to the researchers, this species emerged after a mass extinction event during the Cretaceous period, providing powerful evidence of life's remarkable ability to adapt and recover. However, no matter how fearsome or powerful it was, Jaguarosaurus could not escape the harsh laws of nature. Like dinosaurs, pterosaurs, ichthyosaurs, and all other mosasaurs, this sea dragon vanished after the catastrophic Chicxulub asteroid impact struck Earth 66 million years ago. In a single cosmic moment, an entire era came to an end. Today, from fossilized remains resting silently within limestone, Jaguarosaurus regiomontanus tells us a story of an ancient ocean filled with monstrous predators. So if you could travel back in time and stand face to face with this 90-million-year-old sea dragon, do you think you would feel fear or awe at its overwhelming presence? As for me, I'll go first. I would be absolutely terrified, my friends. Kofun, the untouchable tombs that hide the secrets of imperial power in Japan. In modern-day Japan, the land of the rising sun, where bullet trains race across the countryside and dense cities rise side by side, there still exist strange hills that few people are ever allowed to approach. From a distance, they look like nothing more than quiet, tree-covered mounds, isolated and unremarkable. Yet beneath these layers of earth lies an entire world of power, mystery, and unanswered questions. These are the Kofun tombs, burial monuments considered untouchable relics of ancient Japan. The term Kofun refers collectively to more than 160,000 tombs built from the early 3rd century to the 6th century, used to bury Japanese emperors and members of the imperial family. Constructed from massive stone blocks and covered with layers of earth, these tombs were shaped into artificial hills. Over thousands of years, they have blended almost seamlessly into the natural landscape, making it difficult for outsiders to recognize the immense historical value hidden beneath them. What makes Kofun tombs truly unique is their architectural design. Historically, these tombs took various forms, such as circular or square shapes. However, the most iconic and intriguing design is the keyhole shape, a form found almost exclusively in Japan. When viewed from above, the front appears round while the rear is square, forming a distinctive outline that inevitably raises questions. Why a keyhole? To this day, experts cannot definitively explain its meaning. Many theories suggest it may symbolize a gateway to the afterlife or represent the supreme authority and wealth of the person buried within. Even more intriguingly, satellite imagery from NASA has reportedly identified similar shapes during surveys of the surface of Mars, sparking curiosity among many observers. Is this merely a coincidence, or could there be something deeper behind the resemblance? Beyond their shape, Kofun tombs are often compared to the pyramids of Egypt. From their massive scale to their burial customs, the way ancient Japan laid its emperors to rest shares striking similarities with how the pharaohs were buried. These rulers did not depart empty-handed. They were interred alongside their possessions: swords, bronze, gold, jewels, and even concubines. All were believed to accompany them into the afterlife, allowing them to continue their royal existence beyond death. Among the hundreds of thousands of Kofun tombs, none is more famous than Daisenryo Kofun in Osaka. It is the largest tomb in Japan and one of the largest burial monuments in the world. The structure stands approximately 115 feet tall, spans over 980 feet in width, and stretches nearly 1,640 feet in length. It was constructed sometime between the 4th and 5th centuries. Surrounding the tomb are 3 moats and 2 belts of dense vegetation, forming an exceptionally strong natural defensive system. It is estimated that 2,000 workers, laboring continuously for 16 years, were required to complete this colossal project. Daisenryo Kofun is believed to be the final resting place of Emperor Nintoku, the 16th emperor of Japan, who ruled during the 3rd century. However, to this day, the exact location of his remains within the tomb remains unknown. The greatest mystery lies here. Despite their fame and historical importance, Japan's Kofun tombs remain largely off-limits. They are strictly protected by the government, and even members of the imperial family are not permitted to enter the main burial areas where the emperors are said to rest. So the question remains, beneath these silent, grass-covered hills, how many secrets of ancient Japanese history are still hidden away? What do you think lies below? Leave your thoughts in the comments and see if your guess is closer to the truth. Forgotten treasure of gold and gems, hidden in an ancient Greek tomb. Imagine yourself standing in a quiet coastal town in Greece where Mediterranean winds drift across ancient ruins. Just beneath what appears to be ordinary soil, 2 tombs lay undisturbed for thousands of years, guarding a treasure that would leave the archaeological world stunned. This is not a scene from a movie. It is the very real discovery made by archaeologists Jack Davis and Sharon Stocker in the town of Pylos, Greece, a land closely associated with the palace of King Nestor, the legendary ruler who appears in Homer's epic masterpieces, the Iliad and the Odyssey. These tombs are located very close to Nestor's palace, as if those buried within were directly connected to the highest levels of power at the time. Both tombs were constructed in the tholos style, a beehive-shaped domed structure reserved exclusively for royalty and the elite in ancient Greece. One tomb measures approximately 39 feet in diameter, while the other is smaller at about 28 feet. Despite the difference in size, both radiate an extraordinary sense of grandeur and durability. Tens of thousands of massive stones, each roughly the size of a watermelon, were tightly stacked together. This stone armor quietly protected the tombs from grave robbers and the ravages of time for millennia. As a result, when archaeologists finally entered the chambers, they were greeted by an almost perfectly preserved space, as though it had been sealed only yesterday. What lay inside took everyone's breath away. Davis and Stocker discovered amber beads originating from the distant Baltic Sea, along with amethyst brought from Egypt, clear evidence of an astonishingly vast ancient trade network. In addition, countless fragments of gold once used to line the walls and floors transformed these tombs into a true treasure vault. Most remarkable of all was a finely crafted gold ring, engraved with images of two bulls and motifs believed to represent barley stalks, iconic artistic symbols of the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. This single artifact serves as vivid proof of cultural exchange among major Mediterranean civilizations in antiquity. The discoveries did not stop there. Archaeologists also uncovered a gold pendant engraved with the image of the Egyptian goddess Hathor, the deity of love, beauty, and joy. Just imagine, how did a religious symbol from ancient Egypt end up inside a tomb in Greece? That detail alone is enough to spark endless curiosity. Inside the tombs were also numerous artworks depicting mythical creatures. One seal carved from agate stone shows two lion-headed beings with sharp-clawed feet, both majestic and terrifying. Two other artifacts made of bronze and gold feature a 16-pointed star, a mysterious symbol possibly associated with power or spiritual belief. In addition, an intricately carved ivory plaque, along with armor and weapons, reveals that the tomb's owner was not only wealthy, but also a warrior of high status. According to Sharon Stocker, these tombs were built by the Mycenaeans before the height of classical Greek civilization, during a time when they ruled much of the eastern Mediterranean, roughly from 1600 to 1100 BCE. The individuals buried here lived during the formative period of Greek civilization, when luxury goods were exceedingly rare. Owning such wealth at that time would have made someone a target for countless rivals. This makes one thing abundantly clear. The builders of these tombs were not only incredibly wealthy, but also exceptionally clever, creating a near-perfect fortress to protect their treasure for thousands of years. Quite remarkable, isn't it? Dear friends, the mysterious archaeological discoveries mentioned above do more than simply uncover a buried past. They also shake the very way we understand human history. Every ancient tomb, every set of remains, and every artifact that is brought to light feels like a missing piece of a much larger puzzle, forcing the world to reconsider things once thought to be obvious and unquestionable. Some discoveries answer long-standing questions, while others open the door to entirely new mysteries, challenging modern science itself. And it is precisely within this uncertainty that archaeology remains so captivating, because the past has never truly been at rest. What do you think about what archaeologists have revealed today? Let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment in the section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the fascinating discoveries featured in our upcoming videos. For now, thank you for watching and see you next time.